Welcome to the Shamrock Sports Talk Show with your hosts, Igor Mitic from Serbia, Europe, and
Andy Vernon from Concord, New Hampshire. We are about pride, tradition, sweat, tears, victory, and determination of Boston sports. Give us a ring at 512-543-4662. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe.
welcome to the best evening sports show on the planet. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network LLC. Where you can
find the best in sports talk television and radio shows. Mondays, check out the Just Us Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with your hosts, Kevin L. Dixon and Dana Clark. Then Tuesday, we have the Stars Talking Cowboys Sports Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern with your hosts, Sean Fox, K Boogie, and Cowboys Nikki. And on Wednesday, tune in for the Out the Block Sports Talk Show from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with hosts Robert Lewis, Donna Hayesworth, and Brett Shields. Then meet up with us on Saturday for the Enhanced Sports Talk Show from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern with hosts Lou Tenor and Steve Davidson. We also have the DMV Sports Talk Show from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern with your host Razul McGee. As well, we have the Shamrock Sports Talk Show
with
from
Igor
7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern with Igor
Finally,
Mitic
rounding out the
and
week,
Andy
we have
Vernon.
on Sunday.
Finally,
That's
rounding
not
out
how
the week,
see
we
it
have on
Sports Talk
Sunday.
Show.
That's
From
not
8
how
p.m.
we
to
see it
10
Sports
p.m.
Talk
Eastern
Show.
with
From
your
8
hosts,
p.m. to
Alfred
10 p.m.
Wallace,
Eastern
Tony
with
Wallace,
your hosts,
and Harold
Alfred
Robinson
Wallace,
III.
Tony Wallace,
These shows
and
come
Harold
to you by
Robinson
way of the In
III.
the Zone
These
Sports
shows
Talk Show
come to you by
Network
way of the In the
LLC.
Zone Sports
Be
Talk
sure
Show
to
Network
download the Try
LLC.
99 TV app
Be sure to
on any
download the
smart
Try
device
99
and
TV
subscribe
app
to In
on
the Zone
any smart
Sports
device
Talk
and
Television.
subscribe
The
to In
cost
the Zone
is
Sports Talk Television. The
$4.95.
cost
Thank
is
you in advance for your support.
$4.95. Thank you in advance for your support.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is the show, season 1, episode number 36 of Shamrock Sports Talk uh, show at Zone Sports Talk radio. You heard, I'm trying to get this picture off, but it is not, yeah, the commands are not listening to me for some reason. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that tonight we have the story about Svi Mihailuk, Mihailuk, or whatever it is, his name is pronounced. He is a Celtic, and also we have World Cup in progress. And also we have a couple of other things. Mercifully, you can see us right now. So Andy Vernon is with us again, and we are with you after 2 weeks. So Andy, welcome to the show. And what are you doing tonight? Are you following the World Cup?
No, I'm not following the World Cup right now.
Okay, I'm not following too much the World Cup, but I mean, I watched USA. USA is looking pretty good. I watched Serbia, of course, and I watched loss from Italy. Serbia is not having Nikola Jokic, who is MVP of the NBA. Serbia is not having Vasa Mistic, point guard who is MVP of the EuroLeague. We are without a couple of other guys, and it is not surprise that we lost from Italy in one thrilling loss. Bogdan Bogdanovic from Atlanta. He is the captain and the leader right now, and he blew up the game with his late game shootout. But USA is looking good, and Anthony Edwards is posting the numbers. We will talk a little if we have time later. What is our first subject? So, Brad Stevens did indeed made a move. So, the Celtics signed V. Mikhailiuk to 1 year deal. The sharpshooter is at perimeter scoring for Boston. Boston Celtics signed V. Mikhailiuk. According to multiple reports, the Celtics had two open roster spots available and have elected to add V. Mikhailiuk to their roster on 1 year deal. So Mikhailiuk switched last season between the New York Knicks and Charlotte Hornets, making total 32 regular games appearances. He's shooting 42.4% from three last year, 42% from three. Earlier in the off season, there were rumors that Mikhailiuk was heading to Greece for more lucrative offers. In recent weeks, the Celtics have been working out multiple wings. TJ Warren, Louis King, Glenn Robinson III, and Lamar Stevens have all reportedly have worked out with the team. Yet, it would seem that Mikhailiuk's perimeter scoring ability and off-ball movement have made him the better fit for Joe Mazzulla's offense and offensive system. Mikhailiuk has been in the NBA since 2018. He was spending time um, from Los Angeles Lakers to Detroit Pistons, over Oklahoma City Thunder to Toronto Raptors and Charlotte Hornets and New York Knicks. Despite perimeter scoring ability, Mikhailiuk was unable to help lead the Hornets offense as they finished the dead last in and the worst in the offensive rating in the NBA. Nevertheless, Mikhailiuk will be the Celtics' 14th man. The latest pickup is unlikely to become a featured part of rotation or the core member of the bench unit. Still, for a roster that is predictable on their ability to knock down open threes, adding another knockdown shooter makes sense. Boston still has one open roster spot available. However, Brad Stevens' first few years in the front office have taught us anything. It's that likely to head into the new season with open spots. So by leading open spots, Stevens will be ensuring the Celtics have flexibility should the desirable trade present itself or someone became available via waivers. Mikhailiuk may not be the star, but his shooting ability could see him making the difference in the games where the regular rotation is called from the perimeter. So, Andy, we have been working out a couple of guys that I mentioned. Um, those guys are TJ Warren, Louis King, all wings, small wings, Glenn Robinson III, Lamar Stevens. None of them is giving me impression that he's capable to become the member of the Celtics rotation. We signed three Mikhailiuk. Um, he is 14th guy. It's not likely that he will be part of rotation. However, it is giving us wing depth. The guy is, NBA player who played 252 games in the NBA. Last year, shooting 42% from three, 6'7" tall. So I don't know about his defense, but It is not likely that he will be part of regular second unit rotations, but he can jump in and maybe, you know, score a couple of threes and maybe push Sam here for the roster minutes and spots. What do you say?
Yeah, so I think.
Yeah, so I think.
Oh, but there's a pretty bad echo. Um, but in terms of the players that Boston was looking at, I mean, obviously, I think these guys are all going to be pretty deep bench options. I mean, we're talking like TJ Warren, Spee obviously is a very deep bench type of guy. But I think like the nice thing here is it gives us a little bit of insurance around, I wouldn't say behind Sam Hauser, but like kind of in that same area where and maybe that's part of it is we're hoping they'll push Sam Hauser to to take that next step forward this season if there's some competition for limited minutes. I think it's also kind of insurance, maybe and when I say insurance, I'm not saying that Jayson or Jaylen's going to get injured or anything like that, but just maybe say somebody like Brissett does work out as the way we think he's going to work out, or say we just want to give Tatum an extra 5 minutes off each night. I think what sometimes people forget is that if you can take a guy and you can play him for 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes can be additional rest time for for Jayson Tatum or for Jaylen Brown. That can make a real difference in the long run because over the length of the NBA season, those 5 minutes really start to add up. And I think that's really why we're seeing them make, like sign Spee and, work out some of those other guys. I like the signing. Last year was probably definitely his best year in the NBA with Charlotte. He was shooting 40% plus from beyond the arc. He's a career 36% shooter from beyond. And if he could shoot his career at 36% coming off the bench, I think he usually averages somewhere around like uh, nine field goals attempted with about 4.5, four made. If he can do that throughout the course of the season, then I think it's a really good move because you're looking at a guy who's dropping probably just under 10 points a night in limited minutes. That's something that's valuable for Boston to have. I think expectations should be tempered. Celtics fans have a tendency sometimes to overreact. I think it's all fans have a tendency to overreact. Spee is not, the next Luka Doncic coming to Boston. He's not going to be, the sixth man off the bench who's going to be a JJ Redick type sharpshooter. I mean, anything could happen. But the reality is, that's probably not who he is. He's a deep bench option who Boston is hoping, he'll have a few nights where he gets hot and he could drop, three pointers, on 7-8 shots. And if he can do that, then, that's great. And honestly, for a team that wants to contend, you need to have those types of guys. The last thing I'll say is, this is the superstitious part of me speaking here. But, Spee comes from that same group of Detroit Pistons that were kind of cast off by the Pistons. And some of those other guys are guys like Bruce Brown, who played a pretty big role in Denver's winning the NBA title last year. So, maybe, fingers crossed superstitiously, maybe, the stars will align and that'll work for us too.
Okay. Let me unmute myself. First of all, I'm a little surprised. Everything that you said is totally on point. I'm a little surprised, Andy, that I will change the picture before giving more information about V, or his name is Sviatoslav Yuriyovich Mikhailuk. Sviatoslav Yuriyovich Mikhailuk. Even me, with similar, language, having difficulties to pronounce, but Sviatoslav V. Yuryovich Mikhailuk was born on June 10th, 1997. He's Ukraine professional basketball player for the Boston Celtics. His college is Kansas Jayhawks, and prior to that, he played for Cherkasy Mavapi in Ukraine Basketball Super League. And he played for Ukraine national team 2014 FIBA World Cup. He is born 26 years old, born in Cherkasy, Ukraine, 6'7" or 201 centimeters. Um, his mother, Ina, is high school biology teacher, and his father, Yuri, is COVID history professor. He attended high school in Cherkasy. He received offers from Virginia, Iowa State, Oregon, and Kansas. 2014, he committed to play basketball in the University of Kansas, and he played for Jayhawks during 2014-15. During the freshman year, he started 5 of first 7 games, playing 21 minutes per game, but his playing time since then significantly dropped. He scored 11 points, scoring 32 minutes in Orlando Classic Championship game against Michigan State, November 30th, 2014. He was the youngest player in Big 12 Conference history, 17-all. Returning to Kansas sophomore year, averaged 5.4 points and 1.3 rebounds and 1 assist per game in 35 games in 2015-16 year, hitting 40% from threes. Also, on November 23rd, 2015, Mikhailuk scored 18 points against Chaminade in the first round of the 2016 NCAA basketball tournament on March 17. Mikhailuk scored 23 points, setting his personal college record with 9 of 11 field goals and 4 of 5 threes against Austin Peay. So, Mikhailuk returned to Kansas, junior year college, so against UNLV. Mikhailuk scored 20 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, helping Kansas University to defeat 71-53. So, in the UNLV game, Mikhailuk made 4 of 6 threes. 2016-17 year, Mikhailuk is average 10.6 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 1.6 assists per game, while shooting 41% from three. In April 2017, Mikhailuk decided to enter NBA draft 2017, but didn't hire agents, allowing him to return to senior year. Mikhailuk opted to return to Kansas for senior year 2017-18. On November 17, 2017, Mikhailuk scored career-high 27 points in senior year against San Diego State, 27 points. Also set high school record for 3 points made in season. During 2017-18 senior year, he made 115 threes, which is Jayhawks record. He played for Cherkasy Mavapi, professional career 2012-2014, also Los Angeles Lakers. Remember him from the Lakers 2018-19 year. On June 21st, 2018, Mikhailuk selected with 47th overall pick in 2018 year. During the 2018 NBA draft, he was selected by Los Angeles Lakers, 47th overall pick. On July 10th, signed a 3-year contract, worth rookie scale 4.6 million rookie scale contract. Also, 2019-21, he played for Detroit Pistons. On February 6, 2019, he was traded to Detroit alongside future second rounder in exchange for Reggie Bullock. Because Lakers wanted bench help, they hired Reggie Bullock. Oklahoma City Thunder 2021. On March 13th, Mikhailiuk traded to Oklahoma City Thunder alongside 2027 second round draft pick in exchange for Hamidou Diallo. So Toronto Raptors 2021 22nd. In 2021, he signed 2 years deal with Toronto Raptors for $3.6 million. He was waived on August 29 by Raptors. New York Knicks on September 18, 2022, Mikhailiuk signed with the New York Knicks. On February 8, 2023, the Knicks reached to agreement to trade Mikhailiuk. Ryan Arcidiacono, Cam Reddish, and draft considerations to Portland for Josh Hart. Josh Hart is part of Knicks rotations right now. The following day, the deal was reversed into 14 deal involving Charlotte Hornets, Philadelphia, New York Knicks. Hornets receiving Mikhailiuk, the 76ers receiving Jalen McDaniels, Knicks receiving Josh Hart, and Blazers receiving Arcidiacono, Reddish, and Matisse Thybulle. So Mikhailiuk made debut for Hornets on February 15th, scoring 12 points and 2 rebounds in 120-110 win that Hornets had over San Antonio Spurs. And August 31st, Mikhailiuk signed 1-year deal with Boston Celtics. That is his biography. Career, he's 252 games, like I said, 6.6 points per game, 1.8 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game. In 2022-23, he played 32 games, split between New York Knicks and Charlotte Hornets, and he had 6.9 points per game, 1.7 rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game. So his position is small forward, and he shoots with the right hand. When we talk about the split that you have been talking about, just looking at the games in New York, he shooted 60% for threes, but small sample size, 0.4 attempts. In Charlotte, on larger sample size for threes, just let me refound it because I lost it. He shooted 3.8 on Charlotte. He shooted 3.8 two point field goals attempts per game and 4.7 3-point field goal attempts. So 3.8 plus 4.7, that's like 8.5 field goal attempts per game. In Charlotte, he shooted the last year 40% for threes and field goal 44%. Accumulated the last year shooted 42% for threes. The best year, like you said, 42% for threes, 3.1 3-point attempts, and 5.4 field goal attempts. Andy, in general, to conclude the story about him, because we have a couple of other things to cover. We could see Sviatoslav Mikhailiuk playing some games and pushing, hopefully, like I said, pushing hopefully Sam Husir to work in the training camp and to battle for the minutes. And we can see the battle between those two for the minutes. And potentially one of them can play 5 minutes. What do you say? Down the road.
Yeah, I think that's definitely correct. And I think the thing with Svi is when you look at his history, he is the definition of kind of like a hot and cold shooter. If you look at a lot of his best games, like his highest point games, Most of them come with very, very good efficiency stats. And, frankly, that could be valuable to a team. Like he's not going to be so deep in the rotation that we have to have him play well every night. But if he has one of those hot nights where he can drop 20 points shooting close to 60%, then that's a great night where we get to sit Jayson Tatum or sit Jaylen Brown and get them some rest. And, frankly, that's really with the roster slots that we're working with, that's kind of what you're looking for. Those are the types of players you're looking for, is those guys who, probably not going to play a lot during the season, but they might have that one night where they just get really hot and they drop 15, 20 points. And he's definitely fits that profile.
Okay. I want to comment a couple of other stories. Sadly, I don't have the picture exchange. I was lazy, and I didn't. I thought that I uploaded the picture somewhere, but I didn't. So anyway, we're going to comment. Never mind the picture. So Jayson Tatum called okay, France eliminated from the World Cup. Jayson Tatum called Damian Lillard about his services and tried to get into his ear about potentially joining the Celtics, but Dame's focus remaining on Miami. So, couple of things to comment here. First of all, I heard interesting comments, stupid comments about this news from the Celtics fans, which is expected. Like Jayson is trying to trade Jaylen Brown or move away from Jaylen Brown. This is something the most stupid you can comment about this news. Jayson Tatum is doing what superstar face of the team, face of the NBA is doing. That is recruiting the new players. Okay. Now, if you ask Jayson Tatum, which player do you want to trade, Jaylen Brown or the others, he will answer to you if he has to. That's not my job. That's Brad Stevens' job. I mean, Jayson Tatum, he's the superstar available, so he's reaching up to him. He knows Dame from All-Star games and I think from USA team maybe. But anyway, Damian Lillard will not be the Celtics. And personally, I would not trade anybody for Damian Lillard right now, but that's just me. What do you say?
So I guess the question becomes, the question would really boil down to what are we giving up for Lillard? First of all, I'm not really surprised that Jayson Tatum called Damian Lillard. My understanding is that call happened farther back in the off season. We're just hearing about it now. And frankly, like that's kind of to be expected, honestly. Like if you are a contending team and one of the best players at his position requests a trade, and you actually want your contending team to win, I mean, like I'd be picking up the phone the day that information, released and calling Dame up and be, hey man, Boston's real nice this time of year, you know. So that doesn't really surprise me. I think it depends on what Boston would give up. I'm not really willing to give up Jaylen Brown because of the age factor. Damian Lillard is 33 years old, and for an undersized guard who relies on athleticism, 33 is a pretty significant number. And so that's why I wouldn't be willing to trade, like a Jaylen Brown for him. If you could get the deal done for somebody like Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, and like maybe somebody else, I don't know, Peyton Pritchard, let's just throw his name out there. Yeah, all day long. Like you're talking about giving up Time Lord and Brogdon, who like spend more time injured than anything else. and then Peyton Pritchard, who I like, but he's a deep bench guy. You'd be giving those guys up in some picks to make a team with Damian Lillard, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, if you tell me that you wouldn't make that trade to get that team, then you're crazy. You know, I mean, like that just that team is something like you can't even make that team in a video game. You know, so if that was what the option was on the table, you're like, yeah, of course. And I also don't think that that's bad for the locker room because like if I'm Peyton Pritchard, right, like I have to have a dose of real. I have to be kind of realistic about how I view myself. I'm a good basketball player, but I'm not Damian Lillard. You know, like you can't. It's kind of like with Jayson Tatum. They were talking about trading him when he was a rookie for AD, and he said, like, hey, yeah, I'd probably trade me for Anthony Davis right now too. And I think that something, so I don't think it necessarily is bad for the locker room because like as a professional, if you're like Malcolm Brogdon or something like that, like you have to be realistic. Like you're just, like you're not the same player that Damian Lillard is. You don't have the same accolades that he has. And so you have to be realistic and understand that it is a business. And if the team has the opportunity to trade you for a guy like Dame, they're probably going to do it, and you can't have hard feelings about it.
Okay, okay. I'm just imagining the faces in the locker room of Jaylen Brown. So when he heard the news that was, I think, broke by Mark Pierce from Yahoo Sports or something like this. Um, so when Jaylen Brown heard the news, I'm imagining him coming to Jayson Tatum asking, "Hey, bro, I mean, you're not trying to trade me, right?" And Jayson Tatum saying, "No, of course not." And then half of the Celtics team is then coming to Jayson Tatum asking, "So it means that you're trying to trade us." But NBA is interesting because of constant drama, you know. And anyway, Celtics future draft assets, you see, first rounders, our own, first rounders 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30th, incoming 24, Golden State Warriors protected, swap 2028, higher to Spurs, second rounders guaranteed 8, uh, uh, profit potential 2. So, Andy, we have a lot of draft picks, which is good because if we want to make another blockbuster trade or something, we have picks to give, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
they
think
have
they have
a lot of
a
good
lot of
draft
good draft
capital for
capital for
trades.
trades.
The
Um,
the
the
bigger
bigger
concern that I
concern that I
have
have
is more
is
so like
more
the
so
cap
like the cap
space.
space.
Mm-hmm. Cap space will be the issue we discussed about this. Anyway, we're talking the World Cup and the USA. So I just want to praise this guy, Anthony Edwards. The other day, I don't know against which opponent, but it doesn't matter. 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 of 16 field goals, and 3 of 5 for 3. Anthony Edwards, Andy, is marching towards becoming a star in this league. I'm not going to say a superstar, but a star, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
I
agree with that.
agree with that.
Okay, we are coming to the next slide in the minute. Uh, I'm not slow because of me, but because of so we're talking about a little talking about the World Cup. You said that you're not following it. I'm following the World Cup uh, to a stint a little. Canada is the power rankings number one, if you believe or not. Number two, USA. I still think USA is in real rankings number one, but in this power rankings, I don't know who did this. Maybe FIBA. Canada, USA. So Canada is rising, USA down from one, Germany up to three, Australia down to four, Slovenia up to five, Luka Doncic, Spain, always there, number six. Number seven is Dominican Republic. Yeah. Number eight, Serbia. I said Serbia is without best players. Do not count of them. Lithuania number nine. Latvia number 10. Latvia is without Kristaps Porzingas, but they have Davis Bertans, and I think they defeated Spain, Andy, and defeated Spain, leading them to the verge of elimination. Also, I think that Latvia helped uh, France to go home to be eliminated. Latvia is the Cinderella story of the World Cup. USA, I don't know why they are number second. I think that they are first in the group without loss. Canada, Shea Gilchrist, Alexander from Oklahoma, and a couple of other guys. Alexander, we, I think, commented the maximum deal to him, um, signed by Oklahoma City Thunder. So, uh, do you have comments on this FIBA World Rankings? Germany, Dennis Schroeder, and Wagner brothers, Morris Wagner and the other Wagner, uh, what is his name, whatever. Mo Wagner and the other Wagner brothers. One of them was Morris, I think. Morris Wagner was in Boston before traded to Orlando. So Slovenia with Luka Doncic, of course. Australia surprise. Um, Spain is there. So what do you say?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't. Well, that is pretty
that is
bad.
pretty bad.
Yeah, Australia is having Petty Mills. Uh, so Petty Mills. They have like Aaron Baines, if he's still playing there, a couple of other reserve guys from the NBA. I mean, pretty experienced team, you know. Shea Gilchrist Alexander of the picture, Anthony Edwards, the faces of the team, Dennis Schroeder from Germany, Papi Mills, Australia, Luka Doncic from Slovenia, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Serbia, whatever. This is about World Cup. I still think that USA is going to win the gold. Canada, let's say just for entertainment, that they will be the finalists, and that finals will be interesting between Canada and USA. I still think, despite power rankings, that USA is going to win, but maybe I'm wrong. We're continuing with the slides until 8 o'clock. Bulls trying to bring Giannis to Chicago because uh, Giannis gave the cryptic message that if all the other teammates and him are not at the same page the next very season in Milwaukee, if the roses are not growing in Milwaukee this the next season, Andy, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to collect his brothers, and by the way, Alex Antetokounmpo is waived by Milwaukee, which will probably enrage Giannis Antetokounmpo more. I don't know why Milwaukee is doing this, maybe trying to poke Giannis Antetokounmpo, whatever. He's the youngest brother. Thanasis Antetokounmpo is in Milwaukee as well. They waived Alex, who is going to be at some G League affiliate or something. So, uh, if they are not contenders the next year, he will leave Milwaukee. So, Chicago Bulls are positioning themselves well to acquire Giannis in 2025 off season. If he if he doesn't resign with Milwaukee, so he will be the free agent 2025 if he do you have comments? This will be potentially the next drama after Kyrie drama, after Harden drama. By the way, we have reports that Harden wants to be leader of the team in Philadelphia. That's why he wants to leave because Joel Embiid is overshadowing him. So, do you want to comment about Giannis?
Yeah, just real. I mean, like the thing with Giannis is, first of all, I think most teams are positioning themselves to acquire Giannis in 2025. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And he sent a very clear message to the Milwaukee front office that he doesn't think they're doing enough to keep him or to compete for another title. I think the thing for me that separates Giannis from KD, Kyrie, James Harden's just in a league of his own. Um, is Giannis has really done everything you could ask of him for that franchise. I mean, he brought them. He's really he did everything for them. He's won them. He won them the title. He was really the leader. Like it wasn't like it's not like KD where he won a title with Golden State, but he wasn't really the leader of that team. It was Steph Curry leading that team to a title. KD was the best player, but Steph was the leader on that GSW team. I think we can all agree on that. But Giannis was the best player and the leader on his team. And so I don't think you could compare him to James Harden or Kyrie Irving because those are guys who promised the world. And then when things weren't as easy as they thought it was going to be, they decided that they wanted to throw an adult temper tantrum to get themselves out of that contract to get to an easier place where they had better chance or whatever. Whereas Giannis took a small market team because Milwaukee is a small market team, and he brought them there. And so I think no matter how this plays out, the Bucks and the Bucks fans need to be very grateful to Giannis for everything that he's done for that franchise. He's really been, in my opinion, anyway. I think of Giannis as being kind of the consummate professional. If he does decide to leave Milwaukee, I think the two questions to ask here. I don't think there's a bad relationship there, but I think he's getting frustrated. I think the big question for Milwaukee is what do they have to do to be seen as a contender in his eyes? Does that mean, who are they giving up? Because, like who do they really have? Chris Middleton's a good player, but I don't think he's as good as he looks on that team. Let me put it that I like Chris Middleton a lot. I think he's a great player. I don't see him as the number 2 on a contending team. And so I think that's the question is if you're Milwaukee, A, what does Giannis want to see? And B, how can they do that with the pieces they have? Because they do have some interesting pieces. They have, Jrue Holiday. They have Chris Middleton. They have pieces where you could theoretically make something happen. But I also think being small market, it's going to be hard to make a move that's definitively going to make you better. It's kind of the same thing I keep saying about Boston with all the fans want to trade half the roster. Okay, well, all well and good. You want to trade Jaylen Brown, for example, all well and good. Who are you trading Jaylen Brown for that is going to make you a better team? Yeah, I think that's kind of the problem that Milwaukee might be looking at. So I think the Giannis situation is really interesting to watch.
Okay, so besides Chicago, the latest in the news are the franchises presumed to interest Giannis down the road You see, does decide to move on from Milwaukee via Mark Drake. We are continuing 15 more minutes with NBA stories. Also, we were speaking about a little about World Cup. Um, if you scroll back uh, our program, so uh, see LNS Media Cedric Maxwell. I keep thinking back to a couple of things I have heard players to say. The Jays don't make each other's better. They are duplicate players, so they are both great scorers. They do have to uh, find out a way to get better, to be better together. CLNS media analyst Cedric Maxwell, the Celtics champion MVP of the finals in 2084, if I'm correct. No, 81, whatever. So, on Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum working together. Um, this is a never endless story, Andy, but I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum need to find a way to work together as a trio because we have Kristaps Porzingas right now. What do you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Um.
So I think that
So I think that
there's a couple of
there's a
ways you
couple
could
of
look
ways
at
you could
this.
look at this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That echo is
That
really
echo is
bad,
really
Igor.
bad, Igor.
All right. Thanks. So I think that there's a couple of ways to look at this. And going back to the beginning of the offseason, what I was talking about with, I feel like this team is short a point guard. I still feel like we're short a point guard, a floor general. And the first way is what Cedric Maxwell was talking about, where Jaylen and Jayson need to figure out how to create and how to make each other better. The problem for me is we have tried that year after year and it hasn't significant. There have been improvements, but it's not a significant improvement. I don't think that means we have to trade Jaylen or Jayson, but I think maybe, like, let's look at if they can't create for each other, then why are we not making an effort to bring in a player who can create for both of them and for Porzingis as well? And I guess that's kind of, for me, that's kind of the more mystifying question because it seems like we keep trying to make Jaylen and Jayson into the primary facilitators on this team, and it just doesn't really work. It seems like we almost kind of doubled down on that this year. We brought in Porzingis. We're getting these shooters who aren't really playmakers, and we gave up our best passing point guard. And so, to me, I guess it feels very much like like the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again. And it's like we keep doing that with Jaylen and Jayson, thinking one of the two of them is going to morph into like a LeBron James type passer, and that might just not be the player that they are. They're still both very good. I still think they're both championship caliber players. You don't want to give them up because of that. So why don't you try to bring in somebody who can tie them together? Kind of the same way, like Rajon Rondo really kind of was sort of the icing on the cake that really tied that big three era team together. Um, I guess that's kind of what's a little bit more confusing to me. So, like I said, I think there's two different ways that you should look at this. Cedric is certainly that's one way of looking at it. That seems to be the way that the Boston Celtics organization is looking at it. But for me, I'm starting to look at it more like Jaylen and Jayson are probably never going to be like more than 4 or 5 assists per night players. We need to find a point guard who can maximize them and Porzingis together, and that should have been our major focus. And I mean, like, I just don't feel like it has been. So, like I said at the beginning of the offseason, throughout this offseason, that's my big concern going into this season: is how is this team going to tie together?
say? Um, okay. I'm back with the voice. That's about this flight. Great stuff, Andy. As always. So, the Celtics signed Jaylen Brown to the richest contract in the history of the summer. to acquire a talent like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Boston would have to part ways with Brown and several future draft picks. So, potential returning to Giannis story, potential trade between Boston and Milwaukee. Would you try to hire Giannis Antetokounmpo if he demands a trade from Milwaukee, uh, which which is he and he didn't ask for trade from Milwaukee yet?
That's a tough question. Uh, Given what we have right now, I don't think I would. And the reason is like we just brought in Porzingas, we still have Horford, we have Jayson Tatum, so I feel like Giannis, there's like a really weird. I don't know how that would all fit together, even if you get rid of Jaylen Brown. Um, I'm just not. I don't. I feel like Boston is one of the few teams that doesn't have to be, you know, trying to throw everything at bringing in Giannis. Now if it's 2025 and things haven't really worked out in Boston and Giannis is leaving Milwaukee, then that's a very different story. And that's what I would start to look at, not re-signing Porzingis and trading Jaylen Brown and clearing the space to try to make a run at Giannis. But still, I think there's sort of a question that, like people say Jaylen and Jayson don't really complement each other. I have a really hard time seeing how Giannis and Tatum would complement each other on the court. It's just kind of a very weird fit to me. Um, so yeah, I'm not over the moon about potential Giannis trade, honestly.
Yeah, and um, yeah, uh, I don't know how you're spot on. Uh, of course, I would like to see Giannis in green. The person that is saying the opposite is crazy. But for what is the cost of this? And if you bring in Giannis for Jaylen Brown, let's say, I mean, the problem with this is that I do not see them fitting better together than Brown and Tatum because they are both forwards and similar positions. Okay, Giannis is four, Tatum is three, but they are both forwards. Anyway, the Clippers hesitant to give up a Terrence Mann for James Harden. James Harden, like I said, uh, they don't want to mess. They don't want to mess with their chemistry. Yeah, the slide is not a joke. But James Harden actually is mad at Philadelphia because he's not option number one. I don't know if Harden is watching his games or watching himself under, uh, I mean, in front of the mirror. Obviously, he thinks that he's like 15 years younger. Houston Rockets, James Harden, but he's not, right?
Yeah, and I'll just make the point here. This shows how disconnected from reality James Harden is. James Harden thinks he's the number one player on a contending team, and the Clippers are hesitant to give up Terrence Mann for him. Like it's just completely like opposite. James Harden's view of himself is just completely opposite from where everybody else's view is. And sooner or later, the guy has to wake up.
Uh, I will use the sentence from one of my favorite TV shows. James Harden just entered the twilight zone. In this twilight zone, he is number one option at the contending team, but in reality, he is not. Anyway, more slides and hurrying up to cover all the stories. Okay, we commented this. So Nick Anjeta from Celtics blog. So if Giannis becomes available, Boston has to this team as potential landing spot. Right. They will have a star to offer in return in Jaylen Brown, who could be moved. elsewhere for growth or high draft pick. Uh, I'm going to say no. We have Kristaps Porzingas signed. We have Kristaps Porzingas on a long deal, so we do not need the star power forward until it's proven the opposite. Uh, Agree or disagree, Andy?
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah, like I said,
I don't
I don't
see a
see
big
a
benefit
big
for
benefit for
in trading
in
for
trading for
Giannis.
Giannis.
France has been eliminated from the World Cup. We said that, and Latvia has the fingers all over it. Davis Bertans, who played for San Antonio, is their top player. Good for them. Jaylen Brown expected to play in the Big Three All-Star game in London this weekend. I think that he may be played for it. 5 more minutes. Uh, so Patrick Beverley on Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Uh, no, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, are they top five duos in the NBA? No, too much of the same player. They do not complement each other enough. I think it's underestimation of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but from Patrick Beverley, who is our rivals player, I do not expect anything positive with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
either. And
either. And
I mean, the
I mean,
complaint is
the
that they're
complaint
both
is that they're both
primarily
primarily
scorers,
scorers,
but the
but
same
the
thing could
same
be
thing
said of
could be
Steph
said
and
of Steph
Clay,
and Clay,
because both
Mm-hmm.
Steph
because
and
both
Clay are
Steph and Clay are
primarily 3-point
primarily
shooters.
3-point shooters.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
I mean,
they seem to have
they seem
done
to
just
have done
fine in
just
the
fine in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And they're the dynasty. Uh, Again, let's see how the new Big Three is working judging before judging Jalen Brown Tatum. Okay, here is the Giannis statement that I quoted earlier in the show. I will not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Um, so everybody's going all in for the championship. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family like I do. And I don't feel that. And if I don't feel that, I'm not re-signing. So it will be a really interesting summer 2025. Don't you think, Andy?
Yeah, it could
Yeah,
be.
it
Like
could
I
be.
said,
Like
all
I said,
depends on
all
how the
depends on
Bucks
how the
handle
Bucks
this.
handle this.
And here is the future screenshot of Giannis Antetokounmpo exiting Milwaukee. you know, okay, maybe they will, be contenders again. The tweet, Jaylen Brown now has the most lucrative contract extension in NBA history. The Celtics are fully committed to build around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for years to come. For for those fans trying still to trade Jaylen Brown, it is educative to repeat this. I think that we have a couple of two. Okay, two quick slides, and we will end the show. So three, Mikhailuk is the Celtics. Celtics met with TJ Warren, Lamar Stevens. We commented about that, but in the end, we signed three Mikhailuk. Um, Here is most 12 points since 2020. At number one, Jason Tatum, 170-48. Jimmy Butler number two, Nikola Jokic number three, Jaylen Brown number four with 1,377 points. Jason Tatum number one with 1,748 points. Congratulations to him. Andy, last question of the show. We heard that Celtics won't apparently, according to the sources, to re-sign Blake Griffin as free agent. Blake Griffin is considering the Celtics as well. Do you think that this is realistic possibility, and that do you feel that this is going to happen? The reunion.
I mean, like, I think both sides can gain from it. Both sides seem to be interested, so I think it could very well happen. I think that it would be a good move for Boston. It would give us a little bit more depth in the front court, and I think that it also helps the locker room. Like Griffin has a good locker room reputation.
Okay, that's it. So Andy, thanks for coming. We will talk hopefully.
Thank you.
Saturday. Of course, root for your country, and we will root for USA. I will root for Serbia, even though I was not hoping. When I heard that Jokic is not playing, Mitic is not playing, and a couple of other guys are not playing, I was totally down for Serbian chances to win the medal, any medal. So I'm not hoping. I'm totally relaxed. See you the next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Stay with Zone Sports Talk Radio. This is Shamrock Sports. This is Shamrock Talk Show, Season 1, Episode 36. The Celtics signed 3 Mikhailiuk, and also the Celtics want Blake Griffin back. Have a good night, all, and go Celtics.
Thank you for listening to the Shamrock Sports Talk Show. We're here every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are the best Orly Lucky show in the area. This show comes to you by way of the In the Zone Sports Talk Show Network, LLC. And be sure to download the Try99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you for listening to the
Shamrock Sports Talk Show. We're here every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the In the Zone Sport
in the area. This show comes
Talk Show Network, LLC.
Sports Talk Show Network, LLC.
Where you can find the best in sports talk television and radio shows. Mondays, check out the Just Us Sports Talk Show from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.